Hello students, welcome to today's English class. I am Roopna Ravindran, Assistant Professor of English, Government Degree College, Chevalla. So today we are going to discuss the topic soft skills. What are soft skills? Have you heard about this word before? What are hard skills first of all? You need to be aware of these two terms, that is hard skills and soft skills. Hard skills are actually the skills that you learn or you gain from your education, from your training. So hard skill is also called technical skill. It is the technical knowledge that you gain from your education or from your employment training. Okay, so the subjects that you learn, the practicals that you do in your laboratories, the arithmetic and reasoning skill that you have, the IQ that you have, all are related to the hard skills. Okay, so the trainings that you take, like computer training, MS Office, Tally, all those are related to the hard skill. So hard skills are related to the specific technical knowledge and training. They are often gained through education or specific training. Specific training in the sense you go out to do a course on Tally if it is not available in your college. They include competencies like how to use a certain machine, a software or another tool. So all those kinds of skills that you gain from your education or related training are called hard skills. Hard skills are easily measurable because we give you grades and it is measurable in terms of grades. But soft skills are hard to measure. So what are soft skills? Soft skills are actually your behavioral traits or your personality traits. For example, it can be interpersonal skills, it can be communication skills, it can be leadership skills, it can be your time management, etc. Okay, so all these are part of your personality, all these are part of your habit or your behavioral traits. So soft skills are more often seen as personality traits you may have spent your whole life developing. So these soft skills are also called life skills or people skills because it is not only important in terms of education or employment, but soft skills are also important in your whole life because communication skill is important in maintaining personal relationship also. Time management is important even in familiar relationship. So these kinds of soft skills are important, certainly important in education, certainly important in academia, and it is important in employment, in your job, and also holistically in your life. That is why soft skills are called life skills or people skills. Put another way, hard skills could be defined as your technical knowledge, whereas soft skills are your overall habits. So I hope you are very clear now. Hard skills are your technical knowledge and soft skills are your personality or your overall habit. Both types of skills are necessary to successfully perform. Many studies conducted recently reveal that majority of the students lack soft skills. Many soft skills like emotional intelligence, complex reasoning problems, negotiation, persuasion, etc. All these are different types of soft skills you require in the field of employment, in education, and also in your life. So you need to learn these kinds of soft skills like team building, analytical reasoning, complex problem solving, adaptability. These are all some of the most important soft skills that even the corporates and also the academia are looking forward to. So you have to remember that soft skills are personal habits and traits that shape how you work or how you behave with yourself and also with others. You need to have effective communication skill, which is another important soft skill. It is important in your life, as well as many employers seek for this particular skill. You might have seen good communication skill in your mother tongue and also in English. So you need to have active listening skill also. So soft skills are very much essential to have a good career when you go and search for jobs after your education. Hard skills are also necessary to successfully perform a technical task in a job, but soft skills are necessary to maintain contacts, to have a positive and functional working environment. For this reason, employers often seek for individuals who have good soft skill and also hard skills. They give more preference to soft skills because they can give you training in hard skills, because soft skills are developed over a period of time. You cannot be trained because it is inbuilt in you. It is your behavioral trait. Okay, so it is very difficult to train you in a soft skill, but it is easy to train you in a hard skill. So employers usually prefer people with good soft skills. For example, you may be seeking a job in HR industry, human resource industry, but you lack some prior knowledge of any data analysis tools. If you have certain soft skills like empathy, open-mindedness, and good communication skills, then the employer may choose you over another candidate who has good knowledge over hard skills, because they give more preference to people who have good soft skills. Let us move on to the next slide. Here it is written, soft skills refer to both character traits and interpersonal skills that will influence how well a person can work or interact with others. That is why employers are looking for people with good soft skills. The term soft skill covers a wide range of skills as diverse as teamwork, time management, empathy, etc. All this we have already discussed. The World Economic Forum Future of Jobs report suggested that by 2020, complex problem solving, critical thinking, creativity, people management, and emotional intelligence would be among the most important skills required in the workplace. So you need to be thorough in all these things. You have to exhibit these skills. It is not routine rote learning methodology that you need to develop, but you have to think, you have to develop critical thinking abilities, which is lacking in many of the students now. They just mug up whatever is given to you. That is not the way you have to learn. You have to read, you have to think, you have to question, and you have to think creatively also. You need to have complex problem solving ability, because in future employment, when you get future jobs and all, you will have occasions where you have to solve lot of complex problems, and you will have to manage lot of people. Earlier I have given the example of an HR job interview. So if you are in an HR industry, then you will have to meet lot of people, so you have to manage lot of different kinds of people. So people management is another soft skill. You need to maintain emotional intelligence. You need to know how to behave correctly in certain circumstances. You need to know when to talk, when not to talk, and all those things. Those comes in emotional intelligence. So all these skills encompassing the soft skill are required, very much required in a workplace. So if you go for an interview, you can highlight soft skills. You can show it practically. It is not writing in the resume. Technical skills you can show in your resume, but soft skills should be evident in your behavior. So if you show up on time for an interview, or if you go early for an interview, then people understand about your punctuality or your dependability, which is a soft skill. That is how how you prove that you have good soft skill. If you write, I am punctual, they will not believe, but you should demonstrate it practically in your behavior. Then it becomes evident to the employer. And when you talk, you maintain eye contact. Another example, it gives an impression that you are very confident and you are actively listening to what the employer is talking to you or the interviewer is talking to you. And when you are asked to talk, you talk, and that too very clearly, and that shows that you have effective communication skill. If you do not have good communication skill, then you unnecessary talk at wrong instances. Okay, then you have to ask follow-up questions. So all these are examples of having good soft skills. So here in this video, we are going to discuss particularly two soft skills, that is interpersonal skills and non-verbal communication skills. So you have to learn 4 soft skills in this semester. They are interpersonal skills, non-verbal communication skills, motivation and goal setting, and self-confidence. So this is the part 1 of soft skills video. So in part 1, I'll discuss the first 2 skills, and in part 2 of the video, I'll discuss the second 2 skills. Now, what is interpersonal skill and why is it important? Interpersonal skill is the ability to interact with people through effective listening and communication. It is important to students to have interpersonal skills because it helps them to connect with people, and it benefits their personality development also. So interpersonal skills are skills that we use every day when we communicate and interact with other people. When we communicate to one person individually, or when we communicate in a group, you have a friends gang, then you talk within the group. Okay, so those are all examples of having good interpersonal skills. They include wide range of skills. So this interpersonal skill include wide range of skills. Particularly, it is inclusive of communication skills, good listening skills, and also effective speaking skills. They also include the ability to control and manage your emotions, because there will be different kinds of people from different kinds of background in the group. So they may not align to your kind of thought, your point of views, your ideologies, etc. will be different from another person in the group. So their opinions may provoke your point of view sometimes, but it is important to have an ability to control and manage your emotions. You have to be well behaved. It is no exaggeration if we say that interpersonal skills are the foundation of success in life, because we don't live alone. We don't have a solitary life. Interpersonal skills matter because none of us lives in a bubble. We don't live in a bubble. We live in a society. We interact with people. We have to communicate and interact with other people on a daily and hourly basis, and sometimes very often. People with strong interpersonal relationships tend to be able to work well with other people. They tend to shine in teams or in groups, both formally and informally. Even in your personal life, those kinds of people, those people who have good interpersonal communication skill can communicate effectively with along with their family members, their friends, their colleagues, customers, clients, everybody. They have better relationships at home as well as at work. So that is why I'm stressing the importance of interpersonal skills. There are certain students who lack interpersonal skills due to various reasons. There can be a lot of reasons, and one among them can be they being an introvert nature. So we have to learn the overall benefits of interpersonal skills, and we have to know how students can develop their interpersonal skills. So that is the main purpose of this video. Now, what are the different types of interpersonal skills for students? First one is listening. Students need to pay proper attention to the teacher in the class by active listening. Generally, teachers give notes and important points orally, and if students are listening attentively, they will be able to raise their doubts and ask their teachers. So as students, you need to have good listening skills. Only from good listening skills, you can become a good speaker. You understand things, you learn things by listening more. Verbal communication. Students need to learn to speak, to talk with their teacher, to express themselves. You have to talk with the teacher, you have to talk with your peer group to learn more. It's not only listening which is important, but then you have to express yourself orally, verbally. That is verbal communication. Non-verbal communication is also part of communication, but non-verbal communication is like your sign language, your facial expression, your posture, your style of walking, your gestures, body language, etc. So these are also important. Next is emotional intelligence, is being able to understand and manage your own and others' emotion. I have already given an example. You have to be matured enough to behave in a group, in a team. You should not be angry, you shouldn't express anger in an official circumstance. You have to be controlled. That is what soft skill teaches us. You can express diversified opinions, but there is a decorum that you have to maintain in an official circumstance. Teamwork includes students participating in group activities and coordination among them to reach their objective or goal. So teamwork is very important. Your teachers might be giving you group work activities where you have a group of 7 to 8 members, and you all work as a whole. Okay, so their togetherness matters. It is not your individual opinion, but you have to compromise with others and come up with the opinion of the team. So teamwork is another soft skill. Another skill that includes in interpersonal skill is creative thinking. You might be doing different varieties of creative assignments, projects, etc. So all these help you excel in your creative thinking abilities. Then you have to develop negotiation, persuasion, and influencing skills. So you have to be mutually agreeable. Win-win situation should be there. You should this may be considered a subset of communication, but it is often treated separately. There should be clarification, agreement, and cooperation during negotiation. Problem solving is also another interpersonal skill. You have to identify a problem. You have to brainstorm thoroughly for possible solutions. You have to evaluate the risk, and you have to be open for both the parties. Then finally, it is decision making. Decision making is a skill very important for a leader. Okay, a good leader needs to take important decisions. You should not be biased. Take the right decision that brings benefit for people and also the organization. Importance of interpersonal skills for students. It helps them ask their doubts from teachers and learn better. If you shed your diffidence, if you have some problems in talking with others, and if you develop good interpersonal skill, then it helps you talk to people openly. It helps you shed your inhibition, and then you can even go and ask questions from the teacher and then learn better. But if you are in a shell, if you are not open to everybody, then you hesitate to ask questions to the teacher before the class. That takes you away from many learning opportunities. Then it helps in building good relationship with your peer groups, teachers, family members and society. So if you talk openly, if you have an open communication, then if you have good interpersonal skills, you'll definitely have good relationship with people. Then interpersonal skills also boost your confidence and overall personality development. It also helps you express your thoughts, ideas, feelings, and you get a lot of support from the people because you are more expressive. If you hide your feelings, then people will not support you. They will not know your feelings first of all. Improve your social status as they interact and entertain their friends and acquaintances. It helps them value the diversity, individual respect and different customs in the society. With better soft skill, a person is considered virtuous. Now, students' interpersonal skills not only help them in their education or school life but throughout their career too. As students develop their interpersonal skills through school, it becomes a part of their behavior and helps them interact with people from different sectors. So once you develop it in from your school days or from your college days, then it becomes part of your behavior, then it becomes part of your life, and it helps you to interact with people from different sectors. So employers consider student interpersonal skills as important factor in selecting a right candidate. So interpersonal skill increases chances of employability and successful career and life. Improving and developing your interpersonal skill is best done in these steps. I have listed 5 steps here. Let us look at what are those steps. So first one is you identify areas for improvement. You must be aware of certain of your weaknesses. So the first step towards improving is to develop your knowledge of yourself and your weaknesses. You might have a good idea about the areas that you need to develop. You might be going late every time, so you have to work on that area, and you have to start a little early, and you have to be punctual when you are going for something. However, it is worth seeking feedback from other people. So you might have an idea about yourself, but you can very well ask other people about their feedback. Then second one is focus on basic communication skills. So communication is much more than the words that come out of your mouth. So it has more meaning. So communication involves both listening and also speaking. So listening is something different from hearing. You hear a lot of voice, but then listening is requires your involvement. Okay, it is active listening, and you have to be mindful about verbal and non-verbal communication. Only you actively listen, you can question and you can reflect on whatever the speaker has mentioned. So you might be conscious about the words that you use when you convey a message. You have to be cautious about the non-verbal communication part also, because when you speak something and when you express something different in your facial expression, then it meaning becomes contradictory. So you have to be mindful about your non-verbal signals, such as body language, your gestures, your postures, your tone of voice, etc. Okay, and then third point is you have to look inwards. For example, People are more likely to be drawn to you if you maintain a positive attitude. So a positive attitude can translate into self-confidence. So you have to learn techniques of stress management, and you have to manage and reduce stress in yourself and also others. Then you have to have emotional intelligence. For that also you have to look into yourself. There are certain key areas that you have to work personally. You have to know how to manage yourselves. You have to have a self awareness, self regulation, and also self motivation. So these are all personal skills that you have to manage. You have to be self aware, you have to regulate yourself, then you have to motivate yourself. Then there are certain social skills. So how do you handle your relationship with others? You need to have empathy towards others, and you need to have good social skills. That is, you understand the feeling of others, and you will be able to interact effectively with them. You need not talk contradictorily during different situations. Then fourth one is use and practice your interpersonal skills in particular situations. There are a lot of situations in which you need to use interpersonal skills. So you have to consciously put yourself in these positions and practice your skills. For example, interpersonal skills are very much important when you work yourself in a group. So group work is a common situation, even if it is at your home or at your work. There are plenty of opportunities where you have to work in groups. So this will help you have a basic understanding about the group dynamics and how a team is going to work or a group is going to work. Next one is fifth one. You have to reflect on your experience and you have to improve. This is the final element in developing and improving your interpersonal skills. So you need to have a self reflection. You need to take time and think about the conversation and interpersonal interactions. So this will help you learn from your mistakes and also from your successes, and you can continuously develop. So self reflection is also very important. Now we'll move on to the next kind of soft skill, that is non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication is a communication without using words. That is very simple for you. A person can convey ideas without actually speaking. So it can be through facial expression. You see your close friend very sad, without asking him or her, you can identify from the facial expression. So you can understand some things from your eye contact. If your mother is angry, she will not speak a word, but looking at her eyes you can understand that she is angry. So eye contact, posture. You can understand if a person is confident or not from the way he is sitting, from the way she is sitting, and even from gesture, sign. You might have seen signpost on road. So there no line will be written, no word will be written, but you can understand from the sign that school is nearby. Okay, children cross the road. So all these will be given in signs. That is again another kind of communication. Thus the way we talk, the way we walk, sit, and all these things say something about us. So non-verbal communication has more impact on us than our verbal communication. In an interview, people get the first impression by the way you present yourself. They can just look at you, look at the way you behave, and then understand certain things about you. So, important elements of non-verbal communication include body language. So, body language is a branch of this kind of communication, that is non-verbal communication, which is actually focusing on gestures and facial expressions. Now, all sort of information can be gathered from these things, that is facial expression, gestures, postures, touch, tone of voice, rate of voice, volume of voice, stress of voice, your physical experience, your dressing, your clothes, health, hygiene, personal space, and also engagement with others. Now, how do we gather information? For example, the first one is facial expression. Our human face is extremely expressive. It is able to convey different kinds of emotions without saying a word. You might have seen the Navarasa in dance. So they convey a lot of emotions just by their facial expressions. And unlike some other forms of non-verbal communication, these facial expressions are universal. You can express happiness, sadness, anger, surprise, fear, etc. Every kind of emotion, and these emotions, expressions of these emotions on your face are same across cultures. So even in the smileys that we use in our mobile communication, in your WhatsApp text messages and all, are same throughout our cultures, because the expression, the facial expressions are universal. So the second kind of non-verbal communication that we are talking about is gestures. So gestures are used every time in our daily life. You may wave at somebody to say hi. You may use your hand to call somebody. You point at somebody. You use your hands when arguing or speaking loudly. So all these hand movements, that is gestures, are used without thinking. They are used subconsciously. So the meaning of some gestures can be very different across the culture. So these gestures are culture specific. Earlier we said that facial expressions are universal, but gestures or hand movements have cultural connotations. We have to be careful about that. Next one is posture. Posture is the way you sit or the way you stand. That is also important. So when you stand, you have to stand up straight. When you sit, you have to sit straight in formal meetings. Okay. When you talk to somebody, you should not shake your hands, and you should not shake your legs during formal meetings. So those are not good. Those will not give good impression about you. And you should not even yawn or cough unnecessarily. If you really have cough, that is another matter, but just to distract somebody, you should not cough. So those are not good behavior. So posture is done. Next is touch. We communicate a great deal through touch also. We pat on the back to say congrats. Then we give a warm shake hand. So depending upon the way you have given shake hand, you can understand certain things. If it is a weak shake hand, if it is a warm hug, etc., we can understand lot of things from touch also. Next is the tone of your voice. So it is not just that you speak something, but it is also important the way you say it, how you say it is also important. So when you speak to other people, you have to be mindful about the tone of your voice. So people also pay attention to the timing and speed at which you speak. So how loud you speak is important, your tone is important, and your inflection is also important. So the tone of the voice can also convey certain things like sarcasm, confidence, anger, and all. When certain people are angry, they shout a lot. So from the tone of the voice, we can make out that they are angry, even if they don't know their language in which they are speaking. Next one is physical appearance. In physical appearance, you have to be mindful about your clothes, your dressing, your hairstyle, your hygiene, etc. Okay, so if you are dressed well in a formal clothes, then you convey the attitude of maturity and professionalism. You carry yourself well. Then you have to be aware of the personal space. Have you ever felt uncomfortable during a conversation because another person was standing so close to you? That happens. So, we need to have a physical space when we are talking. Although it depends upon the culture, the situation, and closeness of the relationship, you have to maintain a physical space, and it gives a non-verbal message about the intimacy, the affection, the dominance, the aggression, etc. Okay, next one is engagement with others. That is, how long do you keep your eye contact? So we have a culture, Indian culture, in which we really don't look at the eye of a elder person and then speak. But when you go to a formal situation, when you go to a professional environment, you definitely have to maintain eye contact. That is important in maintaining the flow of a conversation. So if you go for an interview and if you don't maintain eye contact, then people get an impression that you are not at all confident. And you should not stare at people also. So the way you look at someone can communicate many things, including your interest, your affection, your hostility, your anxiety, fear, etc. So during the interview, it is very important for you to look at the eyes of the interviewer and then answer. So our confidence, our motivation, our attitude, everything can be measured from non-verbal communication. So if you want to become a better communicator, it is important to become more sensitive not only to the body language and non-verbal cues of your fellow mates, but also of your own. So you have to be mindful about these 5 roles of non-verbal communication. That is, non-verbal communication is often used for repetition. So it repeats whatever you have conveyed verbally. You have said something verbally and you have to reinforce something, and for that you use your hand movements, gestures, etc. So repetition is one role of non-verbal communication. Second one can be contradiction sometimes. So non-verbal communication can actually contradict the message that you want to convey. So from that, a listener can identify whether you are telling a truth or a lie. So if you tell a lie and you pretend that it is a truth, so the listener can easily identify it from the non-verbal communication. Then it can be a substitute for a verbal message. So non-verbal communication play the role of substitution. So your facial expression can sometimes be very clear compared to a verbal communication. So it can smile can be more powerful than 1,000 words in certain instances. So it can be complimenting also. Non-verbal communication can also be complimenting verbal communication. So as a boss, if you pat an employee on the back in addition to giving a praise, so it can actually increase the impact of the message. And so it may accent or underline a verbal message. So that's all for today. Thank you students for listening. You can refer to these links that I have given in references to learn more about non-verbal communication skills. Thank you. Thank you for listening.